Hello, 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 and welcome to Updog Sports Talk. My name is Matt Miller. Joining me today is Justin McGovern. Justin, it's December. It's starting to warm up to second summer, I guess, out there in the Ohio Valley. Um, and this month has been 3 months long. But how you
Yeah,
doing?
and we've had the weather for about all 4 months at this point. Yeah, because we just had snow this weekend, and now I was very surprised to find it was warm. I stepped outside for the first time, and all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, okay, this is cool." Um, but anyways, it's December. We have a lot of good football left. This is kind of like our home stretch for college football now. We're in the bowl season. It's time to enjoy it. We'll kind of touch on that. We'll talk about FCS playoffs. We'll talk about a few other topics like Army and Navy and some of the bowl games to look forward to. Just kind of the stuff that are really, because the larger networks, again, usually focus on, they're talking about the playoff and all that. So we're here to cover the rest.
Yeah, and I can imagine that maybe at some point we'll try to slip in some picks. Maybe not today, but maybe over the next few weeks, try to slip in some picks um, for the bowl games. But Justin, let's just kick it off with FCS. There's a really good matchup. The Cardinals, I believe, versus the Wildcats. Uh, Illinois State, they're still the
You were
Cardinals.
close. You were close. The Redbirds is
Redbirds. Okay.
Illinois State. You saw the Cardinal logo and made the subs there, but yeah, the kind of the surprising battle going on here between these two. Obviously, no one expected this game. Illinois State being an unseeded team, Villanova being a 12 seed, and really they took kind of interesting paths to get here. Illinois State was actually in the top 10 of the FCS rankings a lot of the year and randomly dropped a game at the end of the year to Southern Illinois, found themselves on the bubble, was one of the last four teams in the bracket. And this team just went on the run after that. I mean, they have beaten Southeastern on the road, North Dakota State on the road, which was a massive upset, and then just beat UC Davis on the road. So I would say, like, for most of the year, you could probably have expected them to win two of those three games. North Dakota State was obviously the big surprise. But, I mean, just think about how well this team's playing and consider the travel they have done. They have gone down to Hammond, Louisiana, up to Fargo, North Dakota, all the way out to Davis, California. Like, they have put in the miles here. And now they're heading to Philadelphia to play Villanova. Villanova has been a team that's really stepped it up defensively. They have frustrated a lot of teams that were looking really good. Like, four red zone stops to beat previously undefeated Lehigh in the previous round, and then taking down Tarleton State, a team that many had pegged as the team that would challenge the two teams in our next matchup in that title game. And then Villanova took them down in Texas on the road. So this team is really getting hot at the right time. And actually, of the four teams left in the FCS playoffs, Villanova is your most recent champion, winning the 2009 FCS title. So this is definitely going to be an interesting battle. And you know what? We could go ahead and give some picks on this one. Matt, do you want to offer up a pick here?
I'll be honest with you, I did not follow either of these teams this year, but if I had to throw a pick out there, I feel like the safe pick would be Villanova. I feel like they're a consistent team. You kind of know what you're gonna get with them.
I'm going to go with Illinois State. I think that I'm just going to keep riding the hot hand here. I doubted them last week. I thought maybe the travel was too much. It's not impacting them. They're playing great ball right now. A lot of guys making their last run here. Their quarterback, they have one of the best quarterback wide receiver combos in FCS. So watch out for this team. I've got Illinois State winning this one and moving on to the championship. The
You
next
know,
game,
you know, we're familiar with this game. We talk about this game during the regular season all the time. The Brawl of the Wild. But this time, Justin, it's in the playoffs. If this would be like the best if it was like if they had seeded them to where they could meet in the championship
Yeah, you can only imagine what
for
Nashville would
all
be
of the
like if you
while
had.
with the title on the line.
As it is, though, this is pretty. This is also pretty incredible because it's going to be on campus in Bozeman. It's just this is the first time we have ever seen these programs face off in the playoffs. Of all the combinations you can think of with the playoffs, it's kind of crazy this has never come together. But here we are, Montana versus Montana State, or I guess I should say Montana State versus Montana since it's in Bozeman. In the playoffs, Montana feels like they have some regrets for the first go around. They get their offense, they threw a pick six to Montana State that really turned that game into the Bobcats' favor the first go around. So you look at it one way there, where the rematches tend to favor the team that lost the first go around. But now, instead of your friendly confines in Missoula, Montana, you're out in Bozeman playing at Montana State. That one's going to be interesting. Who's your pick for this one?
Man, this is tough. I gotta go Montana.
There you go. Um, I think I picked Montana State the first because we picked this game the last time they played. And I think I picked Montana State that time. It went well for me. So I'll go Montana State this time around too.
I think I went Montana last time and it did not work well for me.
We're sticking with the picks of the first game.
Yeah.
But this game's gonna be in the afternoon on ABC. I mean, this is must watch TV. You cannot miss this one. If you want to watch the playoff game between Tulane and Ole Miss, make sure you have a second screen going because this is gonna be incredible. This is historic, the biggest game in the state of Montana's history, pretty much. Like, the buzz has been unreal, and the ticket prices. Have you seen them?
I can imagine they're very high for an FCS game.
Yeah, like it is more than double like the highest college football playoff game. And keep in mind, this first round's on campus too of the college football playoff. That goes to show you just how important this game is. Although I do think some of those ticket prices might grind the gears of a few people in Montana because you have a feeling that there's a lot of people that were from originally out of the state and bought property there, and now they're like, oh, I'm going to take part in Montana culture by going to this game.
Yeah. Like Tom Brady. Like this seems like one of those games where Tom Brady, Ted Turner, and all those other guys who own like 100-acre ranches are just gonna show up.
That's going to grind the gears of many Montanans, that's for sure.
But Justin, guess what? There's another thing out west that's grinding people's gears, and we're gonna shift our gears from FCS to another postseason play, bowl games. We got a few bones to pick with some people. Justin, I will let you go on your rant, and for everyone out there, we are going to be talking LA Bowl.
Yeah,
So if you know anything about the LA Bowl this year, you kind of know it's coming.
yeah, and really, it's just kind of this was the last LA Bowl, anyways, and we're kind of just here to say good riddance to it, and that's not normal for us. Normally, we like to see bowls, but we also know this bowl is going to be replaced.
And
But
we have
you know
a
what?
replacement in mind, and I'll get to that in a minute.
Yes. I know exactly where you're going with this one. But the LA Bowl is not going to be missed by college football fans, and that's because this bowl was honestly very poorly coordinated. Already, like doing a bowl game in LA, like was never a good idea because it's just so hard to travel there, and it's in SoFi Stadium, which doesn't really bring an exciting college environment. It's a very quiet corporate atmosphere to it. And then you make matters worse by the fact that you put this game on December 13th, in the middle of December. So fans have like less than like a week's notice to try to travel to the most expensive, most difficult to travel city. Again, like the mid-December is also the issue because you've got a lot of why fans can travel to bowl games, why bowl games work so well for fans is because it's around that time, around Christmas, closer to New Year's, where it's very easy for people to travel. They're off work, kids are off school, all of that, anyways. You put it in mid-December, short notice, it becomes really difficult for anyone to plan anything. Like you have to get out to LA on Friday, and you've probably already planned your work day by that point. So it just never made sense. And obviously, like this bowl game is played in front of like 200 fans because of this. Um, and like honestly, like the LA Bowl ruined our bowl pick'ems because we couldn't coordinate bowl pick'ems quick enough for this bowl to show up. So it
It was
definitely
so
and
early.
yeah, and like the thing is, of course, because the networks, the major networks, only they refuse to talk about anything except for the college football playoff these days. A lot of dedicated college football fans didn't even know this game was happening Saturday night. Like some people turned on ABC, they're like, "Oh, there's a college football game. Cool."
We probably should have done this one like last because that would have been a good segue for later in the show. Because other things happened on Saturday, but like I I think you were about to say it, but it's rumored that Colorado is going to be the replacement for the bowl, but I have a better idea. And I've been saying
Yes.
this at this point. I'm pretty sure I've said it every week this month, and I've said it at least once a month for the past 2 years. The Cincinnati Chili Bowl. Now, hear me out. A lot of you are saying, "Yuck, that's the most disgusting thing ever." Shut your mouth. You're not from Cincinnati. You didn't care about the LA Bowl. Clearly, a lot of people don't like Pop-Tarts. And guess what? There's a bowl game about Pop-Tarts, okay? The Cincinnati Chili Bowl is gonna, like, if we did this right, it would be played at FC Cincinnati Stadium, TQL Stadium, in the Bar District in downtown Cincinnati. So not only do you get drunk college kids stumbling all over Cincinnati, you also get a bunch of drunk food, which I think would be perfect. And then you make edible suits that you have like a coney race. And you have like it's a hot dog with meat, and you can add onions and beans and all that with about a pound of cheese on top. And then if you make that big and put a guy inside and have him run 50 yards that way, and then you get to put a company logo on the back of it, and whoever wins, that company gets to donate whatever amount of money to some charity or whatever, and it just creates a better atmosphere. It also puts a game in a spot that has nothing going on this time of year. This is a conversation for a different time, but the Bengals aren't doing anything at this point in the year. UC and Xavier basketball are pissing me off, and really, there's not anything going on right now. MLS is not playing right now. Justin, where's the closest bowl game that's not like a
The close
playoff game?
the closest bowl game we have is in Detroit.
Memphis?
That's the nope, Detroit. The game above bowl. That's about 4 hours away. On 1 o'clock the day after Christmas. And then you have the Music City Bowl down in Nashville. That's about 5 hours away.
So there's about a 4 or 5 hour sphere where there's nothing going on for college football. In that sphere, you have Toledo, Cleveland, Columbus, Pittsburgh, Louisville, Lexington, Knoxville. You can stretch it a little bit further and get some of the bigger cities, but you get my point. A lot of people could show up to this game. It doesn't have to be a big game. You don't have to put, like, I can't even think of two teams that didn't make
But
the playoffs.
you get a MAC program in there. Like it's gonna be very easy for their fans to get down for
MAC
the
and
game.
American or MAC and Big 12 or something, Big 12
Even
doesn't have
like
a big
MAC and
game, but
Conference USA, like you could get a pretty decent. There's a few decent
or
regional teams in
two
Conference USA.
at-large teams. I would be
Yeah,
fine with two. No bowl tie-ins. Two at-large teams, and then you can have like Texas State facing off against Boston College. I think that would be a funny like matchup.
yeah. Although I
Because
saw
kids,
Boston College is non-conference scheduled next year. They're not making a bowl.
but I mean, like down the street, you have MAC, Big 12. I mean, we've gone over this a few times. Conference USA, we have pretty much almost every conference within a handful of hours from us. Maybe not Pac 12, Pac 2. But it just makes sense. You have a big bubble with nothing going on inside of that bubble. Put a bowl game there. You have games in Fenway, you have games in Yankee Stadium, both outside, both get really cold this time of year. Who cares? Put a game in Cincinnati. It just makes sense.
Yeah. And you put it in a soccer stadium, like you're gonna get a little bit of a better environment than you're gonna get like in a carnivorous dome, when which is what a lot of these NFL stadiums are, and even like the baseball stadiums can kind of be a little, they're too open. They don't carry a lot of noise. A soccer stadium's gonna carry that a little bit better and be a better environment for that. So that's why
And
that's
we already have maybe not a total game sponsor, but we do have a Cincinnati chili company willing to do this. Gold Star Chili. Well, Gold Star because they dropped the chili a few years ago. Gold Star is down to do this. If we can
yes,
get
they
Skyline,
in fact,
yeah,
yeah, they're in for it because obviously we when the LA Bowl was announced to be done, we had a tweet in there. Of course, obviously because this is how we make this happen. A few well placed tweets here and there, and maybe we get this happen. It actually gained a lot of steam, and then Gold Star responded, "Yes, we're in for this."
yeah. I mean, if we can get maybe like on a different platform, get Skyline in on it, I can see if I can talk to the owner of Blue Ash Chili, see if I can get them in on it. There's a few chili companies down in Kentucky that's across the border. Camp Washington Chili. I mean, we can get like a handful or like a dozen chili companies to sponsor this thing, and there you go. It's paid for.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they're willing to work together, that'll be awesome because I think that would make a lot of fun with like the Coney races. If not, we know Gold Star's in. You got a sponsor. There you go.
We
Um,
have ourselves a sponsor.
but
I was trying to
yeah,
save that for when we actually got sponsored. But anytime you get to quote Days of Thunder, it's fantastic. Randy Quaid, gone crazy the last couple of years. A hell of a quote. So, moving on from imaginary bowl games, let's get to the actual bowl games, Justin. There's a few exciting ones out there.
yeah, absolutely. And really, this is kind of just like a reminder to make sure that you enjoy bowl season because this is your last opportunity to see a lot of fun and exciting college football teams play. Don't let the networks convince you that the playoff is all that matters. Remember, you're a college football fan. You know that college football has always been about the journey. It's been about more than just the championship. And obviously, these bowl games are a huge part of that. So make sure you just don't let these games slip away when they are over, because obviously, on the other end of these bowl games is a very long offseason. College football right the way it is right now. We're not going to go too much into it, but college football has the longest offseason right now just because of all that stuff that gets thrown out there. And obviously, we're having fun tonight. Like right now, Old Dominion USF has been in this crazy, wild game of all sorts of errors everywhere. The Cure Bowl, USF just muffed a punt a little bit ago. So Old Dominion right now is up 17-10 and driving, trying to get up by 2 scores. After this, we have the 68 Ventures Bowl, the first time the Delaware Blue Hens are in a bowl game. They're taking on the Louisiana Raging Cajuns and Lunch Winfield. Nick Minucci and Lunch Winfield coming up at 8:30 is going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait for that. And then some other games to look out for here the rest of this week. You have the Xbox Bowl, Missouri State's first ever bowl game coming up tomorrow. I believe friend of the show, Queso, is going to be at that one.
Shout out.
Good for him. So make sure you follow along with him as he shares what goes on there. It's definitely a weird bowl game because it's inside the Cowboys practice facility, but that's bowl games for you. And then we have the Myrtle Beach Bowl Friday morning at 11 a.m. this is the only guaranteed meeting of conference championships this offseason, of conference champions this offseason. We currently don't have any matchup in the playoff. We don't have any matchup anywhere else. Kennesaw State versus Western Michigan may be your only matchup of conference champions going on. So make sure you catch that one while you're working. I know I'll be having it on while I'm working that day. And
Or
then the Gasparilla Bowl.
if you work a customer service job, don't get fired based on the advice of a guy who's never worked a customer service job in 15 years.
Yes, I work from home. It's a lot easier for me to watch games. Gasparilla Bowl is on right after that. The Matt, NC State versus Memphis. Have they played before?
I don't believe so.
They have not. Would you have guessed that?
Not. I mean, I wouldn't have pulled it out of the hat. If you gave me a matchup, I probably would have just guessed yes or no.
But yeah. I mean, they're. I mean, obviously, I know Memphis is at the end of that long state of Tennessee, but they're in neighboring states.
Can we just acknowledge that this bowl game name has gone downhill?
It was a lot better when it was the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl.
Yep, that's what I was looking for. Now, isn't there like a separate Bad Boy Mowers Bowl?
Yeah, we now have the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, which is hilariously Penn State versus Clemson this year. Everyone thought that was going to be the championship game this off season, and now they're the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl.
But the bowl game formerly known as the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl is going to be a fun one. I mean,
yeah,
Memphis coming in hot, NC State kind of mid-pack of the ACC. It'll be nice to see like these two teams play, but I think a lot of people, especially those who are anti-Power 4, are going to be wanting to see Memphis win this game.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think it would definitely be helpful for the Americans to see them win this one, especially, they could win it with an interim coach. That'd be pretty impressive. Memphis is on a pretty good streak of bowl games so far, and NC State has gone a few years without winning one. So we'll see if that continues.
Speaking of hate of Power 4, we here like the G5. We like FCS. ESPN only cares about like the top 10 total teams. And even then, I don't think they like Notre Dame. Army Navy was on this past weekend, and ESPN couldn't give two shits about it.
Yeah, they used to send College Game Day there. Didn't do that anymore. We've seen multiple occasions where ESPN and other larger networks continue to kind of just blow off this game, not talk about it, send stuff that people initially thought meant no college football at all because it kind of fit the brand of what they've been doing lately. But for the rest of us that aren't part of a big media network, this game, I think, still it drew a lot of fans. I'm not a big TV ratings person, but word was out that the ratings are pretty high. A lot of people are very much drawn to this game because this game is college football at its purest. It's really everything that we love about college sports. When it comes to the service academies, we'll mention this all the time. Like, football is the easiest thing these kids do. There's no NIL, they don't have anything like that. They're still true student athletes. Most of them will not go pro, and they still, despite that, without those pro players, they still go out there and play a high level of football in a lot of games. Navy getting their 10th win. And it's really, they're just out there, they're playing for the love of the game, they're playing hard. It really is just beautiful football. And it really is college football at its purest. And they put on a great show on Saturday. Navy looked very smooth in their first drive. Army battled back. Army went up 16-7 at one point. Navy charged back to win it. Incredible game.
Fun fact about this game. Did you know for 50 years they played on top of active unexploded bombs?
No, I did not know that.
So when they made the stadium, where the stadium is at back in the day for Army, um, they would shoot mortar rounds into a hill. I forget the name of it. It wasn't Bunker Hill. It was something else. Mortar Hill, I think, is what they called it. They shot mortars into this hill. Then they kind of stopped using it for a little bit, and then they were like, "Oh yeah, football. Let's put a stadium here." They ran out of dirt. You know where they got the dirt? The
Where?
hill that they shot the mortars into. And so for 50 years, they had unexploded mortars underneath the playing surface. I thought that was a
Wow.
really cool fact. I saw that on Instagram the other day. I thought that was really cool. Shows the toughness also because like I mean some dude who was like about to get shipped off at Vietnam and then came back and now hearing that is probably like it makes sense, but I think that's a fun fact. Probably should have done a little bit more of a survey back in the day to figure out if there's bombs under the playing surface. But I mean, I guess you didn't really. You just see a giant mound of dirt. You don't really think about it, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Definitely your wild fact of the day.
Yeah. Um.
Hopefully they don't do that any longer because yeah, that definitely would be problematic.
Yeah. Um. Well, now all the like old heads who played at either program could walk around going, "Everybody's soft. Back in my day, we used to play on top of mortar rounds." uh, after that fun fact, I think it's a good time to share our favorite coaching hires of, I guess, the technical off season so far.
Yeah, obviously a lot of huge moves been made here the last few weeks. And you know, we've had a lot of other shows scheduled. We have not been able to touch on a lot of them yet. So this is kind of our time to touch on that now. And we're just gonna be going over a few of our favorite coaching hires. I'll kick us off with maybe my favorite hire might have been Mike Jacobs at Toledo. You know, the Rockets hire a Northwest Ohio guy. He's a proven winner. You know, obviously brought Mercer to the top of the SoCon at the FCS level. You know, they made a top 8 seed each of the last 2 years. Looked really good, and now I think he's going to do even better things for Toledo. You know, obviously has connections down there, has connections up in Northwest Ohio. He's going to be able to recruit very well there, and really in general, like good does a good job developing players as well. So you're going to see, you know, Toledo obviously was in a difficult spot, you know, because Jason Candle, who I'll touch on in a moment, left, and I think the Rockets did a good job finding a replacement.
Yeah.
Candle goes to UConn. I'll be going over a couple of mine and then I'll pivot to yours just because these three happen to all flow together. Jason Candle, go to UConn. He's a great recruiter, definitely going to help keep the Huskies' momentum going because this program is in a better spot than it's been in a long time. So this is a critical hire after you know Jim Mora Jr. left, and they did a great job of this. They know they got someone who's a proven winner, and yeah, he's gonna. It was surprising because, like, you know, for a long time, there's always been some rumors here and there. Will Jason Campbell leave? Where will he go? It was surprising that UConn was the program that landed him, but I think it's also a testament to the improvements that UConn has been making on the football field. And then I mentioned Jim Mora Jr. He went to Colorado State. That was also a steal of a hire. I did not think Colorado State would be able to pull it off. No one even had him on the list, and then boom, it was like, wait, this hire makes a ton of sense. You know, obviously, what he did at UConn was at the bottom, really struggling to find any sort of footing as an independent, and he immediately turned them into winner, made a bowl game 3 out of the 4 years he was there. You know, won 9 games last year, won 9 games this year. They're going to be in a bowl game with a chance to win 10 for the first time in program history. And also, like, before UConn, he had a lot of success at UCLA. He was there with UCLA during the Josh Rosen era and all that. And, you know, obviously it didn't work out perfectly. He ended up getting fired from that job. But when you look back at what he did at UCLA, That was the best and most consistent UCLA football has been for decades now.
Except for
So
when I
Colorado
played as
State,
them in NCAA 13.
well, except for that, obviously, Matt takes over your team in NCAA 13. He's bringing the power. But in terms of real life, like he did a fantastic job at UCLA as well. And so congratulations to Colorado State. Like I think you finally got someone who's a true winner and is going to really get the Rams program going. Matt, what about you? Obviously, I went over a few of my favorite hires because they flowed together. But what is your favorite one?
I have a couple that kind of flow together too, so sit back, relax, and listen to this. Mine are a little bit bigger programs than yours. I really like the Virginia Tech hire of James Franklin. I think it just makes a ton of sense. Penn State, when he got hired, it was like the aftermath. Like Bill O'Brien was there to kind of fill the void after the Joe Pa stuff, and then James Franklin had to like endure the tail end of all that and then try to bring this program back up to the top. And I think he did a fairly good job. Big Ten is tough. So I think it was just time for a split. I think regardless of how it played out, if he would have lost in the early rounds of college football playoff, if he didn't go on that little stretch, I got him fired. I think he would have been fired anyway because I think that Penn State is tired of being little brother, and I've been saying that for I don't know how many years now. That Penn State always plays little brother to Ohio State, and occasionally when Michigan decides to be good. Um, but Virginia Tech hasn't really had that dominant season for many years now. It's an electric atmosphere, one of the best intros in the sport. I think James Franklin can get everybody to buy in, and maybe they dethrone James Madison as the best Virginia program. Um, ACC is kind of lacking like a top end elite stable program. I feel like every year we have another program that is out there, and I don't think Clemson is what they used to be. I think Virginia Tech can hold that down for quite a while once James Franklin gets his going forward. Um, alongside
Yeah,
that, go ahead.
sorry, I'm gonna interrupt for a moment just to bring the James Franklin thing home. Like again, like he had to go up against Ohio State and Michigan. You don't have that in the ECC right now. Clemson's on that downturn. Florida State cannot figure things out. The best running program right now is Miami, and Mario Cristobal's a very similar tier coach to James Franklin. James Franklin's a little bit more consistent than Mario Cristobal is. Mario Cristobal can sometimes win bigger games, but he tends to struggle with the small ones. James Franklin obviously struggles with bigger games, wins the small ones. Um, so like you have a really nice opening there. Now, year one in the ACC probably going to be a little bit rough. I don't know if you see the road scheduling yet next year, but it's pretty bad. They play at Clemson, at Miami, at and then of course at Cal, which may end up being a random late night game. Like you got all that at SMU, so that's gonna be pretty tough. But I think he's gonna get things going pretty good.
Yeah, and give it like year three, where we thought Matt Rule was going to do well. I think James Franklin's going to do well. On the flip side of that, on the heels of that hire, I think Matt Campbell going to Penn State was actually a really good thing for Penn State. Maybe not Matt Campbell. I think Matt Campbell had a really good thing at Iowa State, but he's a proven winner. One at Toledo, one at Iowa State. I think that he's a stable guy that can keep this thing where it's at. And he's known to have strong programs. So maybe when the next few classes of receivers kind of dies down for Ohio State, maybe he can get in there and start recruiting a little bit better and starting to bring this program to the top. But I think that they waited a long time to get the interviews going. A bunch of hires happened like before all of this. I think that Penn State was like that Pikachu meme where Pikachu's just like Like, I think a lot happened in college football so quickly, and I think the way they handled the James Franklin thing pissed off an agent that oversees many of the top uh, coaches in college football, which is why we saw so many top so many of the top names re-sign with the schools and stay with the schools because he made that a priority instead of looking for teams like Penn State. Matt Campbell going there can kind of shut that whole thing down. Like I said, get consistency in there and then keep Penn State in the top half of the Big Ten.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do where it's easier to recruit higher end talent. Like he does a good job finding guys, finding good players. Obviously, Iowa State's been putting a lot of people in the draft in recent years, everything like that. So what is he going to be able to do now? More resources, more talent available. It's going to be interesting to see.
And then building off of that, um, you don't like this because we talked about this off camera, but I like it. Brian Hartline goes down to South Florida. I think he's a guy that can inject life into a program that we've been looking for that life to come for so long now. They're getting a new stadium. Tampa is a thriving city right now. There's just so much going on there, and I think it'll just add to the atmosphere of having a solid team nearby that you don't have to go all the way up to Tallahassee to go find Florida State. You can stick down to the western half of Florida and stay down a little bit to get good quality football. I like Brian Hartline there. You had said off camera that you do not like some of the hires that he's made.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm a huge fan of the hire. Obviously, actually, I covered this on the show, a couple weeks back. That was when the news was breaking, and I was a huge fan of it. But then comes the offensive coordinator hire, and I was just like, why? Why is this the move you made? You hired someone that's an offensive coordinator that everywhere he goes, the offense seems to get worse. I don't know. Hopefully he knows what he's doing, but that was kind of a disappointing hire. Otherwise, it really felt like there's a ton of momentum for South Florida. Obviously, not a great night tonight. Old Dominion kind of just put them away. They're going to lose the Cure Bowl, but I think the future recruiting is going to go well for South Florida. But I think you may run into some issues here where the offense might be a little bit more wonky than you want it to be.
I share one with you, so I'm gonna let you get the one out of the way, and then we'll share the other one.
Actually, this was actually a great tangent because who they hired as offensive coordinator was the guy that got fired from Coastal Carolina and opened up for this person, Ryan Beard at Coastal Carolina. He is going to bring fun, exciting football back onto the teal turf. Ryan Beard does a fantastic job. Obviously, I didn't know much about him until a couple years ago when I saw Missouri State play Montana and Missoula, and the Bears put up a better fight than expected that day. And I came away very impressed with who he is as a coach. And he did what felt like was impossible at Missouri State. This is a program that was really struggling in Missouri Valley. Obviously, it's very tough to climb in that conference because you got the Dakotas, you got Illinois State, you got programs like that that make it difficult. But he managed to do it. He managed to turn them into winner. Had a very solid year last year to kind of build in this first FBS season. Year one in FBS, they go 7-5 despite having their quarterback hurt for a couple games. He's a great coach at developing players, at scheming offense, and really just finding that underrated offensive talent that turns out to play very well. So I'm very excited to see what he's going to do with more resources at Coastal Carolina. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
And there's not really a segue for this one. I'm gonna attempt one. It's not gonna be great, but our last coach, we have talked a lot of good things about this coach this year. This coach took a G5 program and seemingly turned it into turned it completely around. He's had success with quarterbacks everywhere he's gone. Eric Morris from North Texas going to Oklahoma State. I like that hire a lot for Oklahoma State. I wanted to see him stick around North Texas, kind of build North Texas up a little bit more. But for Oklahoma State, I think it's a great hire. I think it was time for Mike Gundy and Oklahoma State to part ways after all those years. It seems like the Cowboys are gonna get going here soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to see this program pick back up again. During the era of, the college football playoff ever since it was founded, Oklahoma State is still one of the most winningest programs, even though they haven't won a Big 12 game in 2 years. Man, it's been a rough couple of years. It's crazy how quickly that fell off. But part of what the fall off was, like, the Gundy area was you saw the offense trail off. This has been a program that's been known for offense. A lot of the guys they put in the NFL played offense. And all of a sudden, you just saw that disappear in recent years. Now you got a guy who knows how to find amazing quarterbacks out of seemingly nowhere. I mean, Drew Mestamaker is the latest example, was a walk-on, and now, putting up numbers is one of the best. Yeah, walk-on. Everything like that. And managed to turn him into one of the top quarterbacks in college football. Obviously Cam Ward is another example there. And really just wherever he goes, they instantly have a top 10 offense. Just like it does not matter if they lose guys in the portal or whatever, like he still finds a way to have a top 10 offense. And, I think in this past year, I think he learned the value of what making sure a good defense is going to do. Because that's what really helped North Texas take the next step of winning, where they got to the point where they were one game away from the college football playoff. It would have been cool to see him stick around, but at the same time, I think he's left a lasting impression and really woke up a North Texas program that had a lot of potential for a while.
So those are our hires. Tell us if you have anybody else on your list that you want to talk about. But I think that's a good stopping point, Justin. Do you have any final parting thoughts on the show?
I'll give a quick shout out to Mark Carney for Kent State as well. I mean, not exactly a new hire because he was the interim this year, but what he did there, to turn around and to make a 5-win improvement from a program that seemingly went through one of the worst FBS seasons of all time the year before. Literally, you plays away from a bowl game. Make a play here and there. Make an additional play against Ball State, and Kent State is bowling from being one of the worst seasons of all time. That was incredible. And like the culture difference he's made too behind the scenes is pretty cool to hear about. Our friend Bobby of the TNT podcast recently touched on that in his series. He had a guest on from Kent State, and I think it was really cool to hear about what the culture was behind the scenes as well, that you really can feel the buy-in from the players that they didn't have before.
Well, that's all she wrote today. Follow us at Updog Sports Talk on every platform. We are starting to get more of our content out on Spotify and wherever you get your podcasts, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Music, wherever you listen. But YouTube is our home. We will continue to start everything here. We are live on X also. So if you have an X account and for some reason can't find us or don't like YouTube, go there. You can find us there. Yeah, so we'll see you next time. I don't think we're going to do an episode next week. We'll talk about it. We'll figure it out. We'll let you guys know. But have happy holidays, and we will see you guys in the heart of bowl season.
Happy bowl season. Congrats to Old Dominion.